There's a whisper moving through the corridors of your heart, a voice that has been there all along, though the noise of the world has often drowned it out. You have wrestled with questions in the night, turning on your bed like a ship caught in a restless tide, wondering whether the dreams you carry are illusions, whether the promises you once held were nothing more than passing clouds. You have watched doors close in your face, sometimes softly, sometimes with the harshness of iron gates. You have learned the weight of waiting and the ache of silence, and yet here you stand on the brink of something you cannot quite name, feeling the strange gravity of an answer that has been waiting for you longer than you have been waiting for it. The truth is, there are seasons when the most dangerous thing is not the darkness itself, but the quiet belief that the darkness will never lift. There is a subtle cruelty in thinking you have been forgotten, a bitter root that grows in the soil of delay. But the one who called you into being does not plant seeds for the sake of watching them wither. He is not a God of cruel experiments, nor does he tease his children with visions he has no intention of fulfilling. If the waiting has been long, it is because something deep and unshakable was being formed in you, something the shallow victories of instant gratification could never give. Even now, you may be tempted to think that the word yes is a fragile thing, a word reserved for those with more faith, more strength, more perfection than you. You imagine it belongs to the saints whose steps never falter, to the heroes who never feel afraid. But the reality is far more humbling and far more beautiful. Yes is spoken to the ones who know their need, to the ones who have nothing left to bargain with, to the ones who have seen the end of their own ability and still dare to lift their eyes. Yes is for the trembling hands, for the weary hearts, for the souls that have been bent low by the storms but not broken beyond repair. You see, when God says yes, it is not because you have met every condition on some secret list. It is not a reward for flawless performance. His yes is an extension of his own nature, a declaration that what he has promised will stand because his character cannot be shaken. This yes carries the weight of eternity. It cannot be undone by the schemes of men or the malice of unseen enemies. It does not bend under the pressure of shifting circumstances, nor does it fade when the light in your own soul grows dim. It is a yes that stands when every voice around you says impossible. Perhaps you have misunderstood the delays as denials. Perhaps you thought the silence meant that heaven had turned its face away. The silences were not absence, they were the deep, slow breathing of a God who works in seasons and layers, who prepares the foundations before unveiling the beauty of what he is building. He was not ignoring your prayers. He was aligning the unseen threads of your life with the tapestry of a larger story. And now, as surely as dawn follows the longest night, the time has come for the answer to break through. The danger now is not that you will be denied, but that you will not recognize the yes when it comes. For it may not arrive in the form you imagined. It may be quieter, humbler, more ordinary to the eyes of the world than the grand unveiling you had pictured. And yet within it you will feel that strange certainty, like the deep click of a key fitting perfectly into a lock. That is how heaven works, often without spectacle, but always with precision. When God says yes, it is an invitation to move, not to wait until every condition feels safe, not to demand that every question be answered in advance, but to step forward in the trust that the one who called you is already ahead of you. His yes is the green light to cross the threshold, to put your weight on the promise, to act as though the victory is already accomplished, because in his mind it is. Some will tell you that it is dangerous to move too soon, that you must see the whole map before you take the first step. But the history of every great work of God begins with a single step taken on the strength of his word alone. The waters did not part until the feet touched them. The bread did not multiply until it was broken. The stone did not roll away until the morning light found the tomb. This is how yes works. It calls you into action before you have all the proof, because the proof comes in the moving. And yes, there will be resistance. The door of great opportunity is always set in a wall of opposition. You will find that the yes of God draws out both the help of heaven and the hostility of hell. But opposition is not a sign that you misheard. It is often the clearest evidence that you are on the right path. The enemy does not trouble what does not threaten him. So when you feel the wind rise against you, do not turn back. Set your face like flint and keep walking. This yes is not only for you. It is meant to ripple outward, to touch lives you may never meet, to answer prayers you do not even know were prayed. The promises of God are rarely contained within a single life. They are threads in a web of grace that stretches far beyond our sight. Your obedience in this moment could be the hinge on which the door of someone else's deliverance swings open. You may never see the full effect, but heaven keeps the record. Do not be surprised if this yes asks something of you. God's promises are gifts, but they are also assignments. To receive his yes is to agree to carry something, a calling, a responsibility, a stewardship of grace. This is not a burden meant to crush you, but it will stretch you. It will require faith in moments when sight would be easier, perseverance in hours when quitting would be more comfortable. But remember, you were not chosen because you were already strong. You were chosen so that his strength could be made perfect in your weakness. The temptation will come to negotiate the terms, to ask for a smaller yes that costs you less. But the God who speaks this word over you does not deal in half promises. He is not interested in building a life that can be sustained by your own strength alone. He gives a yes that requires him to be in the center of it all, because only then will it stand when the storms come. You may wonder if you have the courage for this. Courage, you will find, is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. The yes of God comes with its own supply of grace for the road ahead. You will not feel ready, and that is the point. Readiness is an illusion. Willingness is the truth that matters. Bring him your willing heart, and he will take care of the rest. There is one more thing you must know. The yes of God is eternal. It is not rescinded when you stumble. It is not revoked because of the failures you fear might disqualify you. This yes is anchored in the finished work of Christ, not in the fluctuating state of your emotions or performance. That is why you can trust it, lean on it, build on it. The same God who begins the good work will finish it, not because you never falter, but because he never does. So here it is, that word you have been longing for, perhaps without even realizing it. Yes, the season has shifted. Yes, the door is open. Yes, the promise still stands. Yes, you are loved, chosen, and equipped. Yes, the answer to your prayer is on its way. In some ways, it is already here. You do not need to see the whole road to start walking. You only need to trust the one who lights the next step. Lift your head then. The long night is over. The time for doubting has passed. The voice that spoke galaxies into being now speaks into the stillness of your heart and says, yes, not because you earned it, but because he delights to give it. Not because you are perfect, but because his plan is. Not because you can guarantee the outcome, but because he already has. Walk in that yes. Build on that yes. Let it change the way you think, the way you speak, the way you live. Let it be the fire in your bones and the compass in your hands. And when the shadows whisper that it was all a dream, let the memory of this moment, this holy affirmation, silence them. For the God who cannot lie has spoken, and his word will not return empty. Yes, now, forever. When the word yes is spoken from heaven, it does not arrive as a suggestion, but as a decree. It carries the authority of the one whose breath called the stars into their positions and whose hands shaped the dust into a living soul. This is why his yes is not a fragile thing that must be guarded from breaking. It is a fortress unshaken by the blows of doubt, unmoved by the shifting seasons of your life. You may feel the trembling of your own heart, but the yes he has spoken is steadier than the mountains, deeper than the seas, older than the very air you breathe. And yet, as strange as it may seem, this eternal yes often appears in your life clothed in ordinary garments. It may not come with trumpets or angels visibly descending. It may look like a simple conversation, an open opportunity, a quiet nudge that will not go away. If you are not careful, you could dismiss it as coincidence or chance. That is why you must learn to listen beneath the surface, to hear the resonance of the divine in what might otherwise pass unnoticed. For often the doorway to your destiny is disguised as an unremarkable moment. There is a discipline in recognizing God's yes. It requires stillness in a world addicted to noise, faith in a culture obsessed with proof, and courage in a time when hesitation masquerades as wisdom. You will not always have the luxury of unanimous agreement from those around you. Some will caution you to wait, to reconsider, to hold back until every piece is in place. But if you wait until the winds are calm before you set sail, you will never leave the shore. The yes of God comes as wind in your sails, not as the promise of a stormless sea. Do not imagine that your own history of failures has the power to silence his voice. He knew your flaws before he called you, your doubts before he answered you, your scars before he entrusted you with this moment. If the yes depended on your flawless record, none of us would ever hear it. It rests instead on his flawless character. And so the same voice that spoke light into darkness now speaks into your uncertainty and declares, go forward. You may find that with the yes comes a certain unsettling. You had grown accustomed to waiting, to planning, to rehearsing in your mind the day when the door might open. Now it is open, and the air on the other side feels unfamiliar. This is the nature of obedience. It requires stepping into rooms you have not yet explored. But remember this, you are not made to stand at thresholds forever. Doors are meant to be passed through. The road ahead will not always make sense to those who have not heard the yes for themselves. They may think you are reckless, that you are moving without enough information, that you are risking too much for too little certainty. But faith has never been about certainty in the eyes of men. It has always been about certainty in the heart of God. When he speaks, the unknown becomes safer than the familiar. And yes, there will be moments when you wonder if you misheard. The path may twist in ways you did not expect. The ground beneath your feet may feel unstable, and your heart may long for the simplicity of what you left behind. This is not a sign that you have taken the wrong road. It is the reality of walking by faith. The yes of God is not a promise of comfort. It is a promise of purpose. Comfort may come, but it is never the goal. The goal is transformation, yours, and the transformation of those your obedience will touch. Think of those who have walked before you. Not one of them saw the whole picture before they began. Noah built before the first drop of rain. Abraham left without knowing the destination. Moses stretched out his staff before the waters moved. Peter stepped onto the waves before they became solid under his feet. The yes was not proven by sight beforehand. It was proven in the living of it. And so it will be for you. Your yes moment is also a dividing line. On one side is the you who waited, hoped, and wondered. On the other is the you who steps forward into the fulfillment. Some things will not be carried across that line. Old fears, old habits, old excuses, they do not belong where you are going. There is a shedding that comes with stepping into the new, and though it may feel like loss, it is actually preparation. You must also guard the yes you have been given. Not everyone will understand it, and some will actively resist it. Their doubt is not your evidence. Their fear is not your compass. Protect the word you have heard as you would protect a seed planted in your garden from weeds that choke, from pests that devour, from trampling feet. In its time, it will grow into something strong enough to withstand anything, but in these first steps, it will require your care. And do not forget gratitude. The temptation, once the yes comes, is to rush headlong into action and forget the long nights that preceded it. But gratitude roots you. It keeps your heart tender, your vision clear, your steps humble. It reminds you that the yes was never owed to you, that it came as a gift born of mercy delivered in love. And when you give thanks, you make space for the yes to grow into even greater things. This yes also calls you into deeper trust. There will be moments ahead when you will have to lean into him more fiercely than you ever have before. You will need to remember this moment, the clarity of his voice, the sureness of his call, when the road feels uncertain again, because the enemy will try to make you question it. He will point to the difficulties as proof you were wrong, the delays as evidence you were mistaken. But difficulties are the training ground of destiny, and delays are often the wrapping paper around the gift. Understand this too. The yes is not just about what you will receive. It is about who you will become in the process. The promise is important, but the transformation is just as vital. The journey will shape you into the kind of person who can carry the promise well, who can stand under its weight without being crushed by it. Without the journey, the yes would be wasted on an unprepared heart. There will be moments of surprise, blessings you did not expect, help from places you never thought to look, favor that cannot be explained. These are the fingerprints of God along the path, reminders that his yes is not a mere word but an active presence moving with you. Watch for them, for they will strengthen you in the harder stretches. And if at times you feel alone, remember that his yes comes with his companionship. He does not send you ahead while he remains behind. He goes before you, walks beside you, and guards you from behind. His yes is not just permission to move forward, it is a promise that he will move with you. One day, you will look back on this moment and see how much hung upon it. You will realize that the yes you hear now was the turning point, the hinge on which so much of your future swung. And you will thank him not only for the word itself, but for the way he prepared you to hear it, the way he sustained you in the waiting, the way he brought you to the very edge of the fulfillment without letting you fall. So take the step, speak the word, make the move. The yes is not in vain. It is the very breath of God, filling your sails, the light of his presence breaking through the fog, the anchor of his promise, holding steady beneath you. You do not need to see every shore ahead. You only need to trust that the one who said yes is the same one who will bring you safely there. Yes, now, forever. It is yours to live, to carry, to steward. Go in it. To believe on God in this moment is to step onto ground you cannot yet see and trust that it will rise up to meet you. It is to stake everything on his character, not on your own ability to control the outcome. It is to say, if you are the one speaking this yes, then I will lean all my weight on it, for you are not a man that you should lie, nor a son of man that you should change your mind. Belief in God is not mere mental agreement. It is the surrender of your will into the hands of the one whose hands hold worlds. There is a profound simplicity in it. You need not understand the mechanics of the promise to receive it. The farmer does not need to understand every detail of photosynthesis to plant the seed. He believes in the design, the order, the faithfulness of the seasons, and so it is with God. You may not understand every way he will bring the yes to pass, but you can believe in the faithfulness of the one who has spoken. That belief is your seed, and it will bear fruit in its time. Do not confuse belief with mere optimism. Optimism can be shattered by a single bad report. Belief in God is not fragile like that. Belief is forged in the fire of past deliverances, in the memories of how he carried you when you thought you would not make it through. You believe because you know, not because you see everything, but because you have seen enough of him to trust what you cannot yet see. And belief changes how you carry yourself. It straightens your spine when fear whispers that you are not enough. It quiets the trembling in your hands when the next step feels too big. It teaches your mouth to speak life when every visible fact tells you to brace for disappointment. When you believe on God, you start walking like the answer is already here, because in his eternal perspective it is. The yes is more than an opening in your circumstances. It is a declaration from the throne of heaven that something has been settled in the spiritual long before it appears in the natural. To believe on God is to accept that what he has settled cannot be unsettled by the doubts of men or the schemes of the enemy. There is no counsel of darkness that can vote against the decision of the Almighty. His word is final. His decree is unshakable. His yes is eternal. And yet, belief is not without its battles. The moment you set your heart to trust God, you will feel the pull of every shadow that wants to drag you back into fear. The old thoughts will return. What if I heard wrong? What if I'm not ready? What if this falls apart like before? These questions are not signs that your belief is weak. They are signs that you are in a contested space a place where the enemy would rather you retreat than advance. The very fact that your mind is under attack is evidence that you are standing on territory worth defending. In those moments, you must speak what you believe. Faith kept silent begins to wither, but faith declared takes root and grows. Say aloud the truth you know. God has spoken, and I will believe him. Let your own ears hear your own mouth agreeing with heaven. For the enemy thrives in the silence of unspoken faith, but he is driven back when the truth is proclaimed without shame. Belief on God also demands that you keep your eyes on him more than on the signs. Signs are wonderful. They encourage, they confirm, they remind, but they are not the source of your belief. If you tie your faith only to the visible, you will be tossed like a ship without an anchor every time the waves rise. But when your belief is anchored in God himself, you can face both calm and storm with the same steady heart. You will not be undone when the signs seem slow, for you know the sign maker. This yes is an answer to prayers you have prayed, and perhaps even forgotten. It is the unfolding of a plan you could not have written on your own. And belief in God will keep you from shrinking it down to fit the smallness of your own vision. Do not reduce his promise to the size of what you think you can handle. Let it stand in its fullness, even if it feels too big for you. Especially if it feels too big for you, for in that very bigness, he will show himself mighty on your behalf. There will be moments when the yes feels distant again, when the brightness of this day fades under the shadows of delay or resistance. In those moments, belief on God is your lantern. It will not make the night vanish, but it will give you light enough to keep walking until the dawn, and the dawn will come. For the one who spoke this word over you is not careless with his timing. Every step you take in belief is drawing you closer to the place where the promise and the reality meet. Do not think that believing means you will never feel weary. Even those who walk with God grow tired, and even those who trust him with all their heart sometimes long for a shorter road. But belief is not the absence of weariness. It is the decision to keep moving toward him despite it. It is the hand reaching for his when your own strength has run out. It is the quiet prayer in the night that says, I still trust you, even when your emotions are shouting otherwise. The beauty of believing on God is that it pulls you into his strength. You do not have to muster endless reserves of courage on your own. You do not have to hold the yes together by sheer willpower. You simply need to stay connected to the one whose power has no limits. As you do, you will find that the weight of carrying the promise is not crushing you because you were never meant to carry it alone. And when the fulfillment of the yes unfolds before you, belief will turn to sight, and you will know that every battle to hold on was worth it. You will stand in the place you once could only imagine and realize that God's faithfulness was not just in the arrival, but in every mile of the road that led there. You will see how he wove together moments of joy and pain, clarity and confusion, loss and gain, into something that could only have been born from his wisdom and love. So believe on him now, not half-heartedly, not with one foot in and one foot out, but with the whole weight of your soul. For the yes he has spoken over you is not fragile. It will not fail. And when you believe on God, you step into the unshakable certainty of his word, into the safety of his will, into the glory of his purposes that stretch beyond this moment into eternity. So now you stand in the very place heaven has been preparing you for all along. The waiting has not been wasted. The silence has not been empty. The tears you have sown have not been forgotten. The God who formed you in the secret place has brought you to this moment and placed a yes over your life.